Thank you very much for joining us again on Shaping African Conversations. I am Lorna Irungu Macharia. As we continue with our theme around trust and why trust is important in any business, we are going to be having today on our show the very trusted Mr. Michael Joseph, former CEO of Safaricom and current chair of the Kenya Airways. So, Michael, thank you very much for taking the time to join us. We've talked a bit about this before, and I just want to share with you some of the data that came out from this Edelman report on trust and see how that links to your business. So they've talked about behaviors of trusted companies. One, that people are willing to pay more. 55% of people are willing to pay more for a company, a business they trust, than any other business. 88% of people are willing to choose or buy products and services from a business they trust, in relation to 58% who just refuse to. And others, 55% are willing to defend a company that they trust, over 49% who disagreed. Starting on that basis, let's talk about how you build trust in Kenya, running a business, coming in as a foreigner 18 years ago when you took over Safaricom, and how important was trust for you in doing that?
Well, I think, when we went, if you start out with the Safaricom and what we set out to do was, and this I think is key from a trust point of view, is when we defined our target market initially was going to be the man and woman who came to work in the matatu. That was our target market. So not the base of the pyramid, not the bottom of the pyramid, but towards the bottom of the pyramid. And in order to get those customers to join us, they had to trust us. Mm-hmm. So they had to trust that we would give them what they paid for, and that we would deliver the goods to them, that we would be reliable and all these things. And I think that, if you look back to Safaricom, that's a significant part of our success. Mm-hmm. That in the end, people trusted us. So therefore they came and they joined us, they supported us. And then when we ran into trouble, they still stayed with us.
Yes.
And I think that's really important. And to build that trust is not a matter that you just say, I'm a trustworthy company. You have to be trustworthy, and you have to demonstrate that trust. And I think that's what I try to do. And how do you do it? I deliberately set out to be a trustworthy person. But I set out to be an honest person, that I would be honest with my customers, and I would be, I would try to treat them fairly. Also bear in mind that we're a corporate, for-profit corporation.
Absolutely, yes.
Things like that. But things that we did, for instance, like customer care. Customer care in Kenya, when I came in Kenya, was almost non-existent. Mm-hmm. But we built a customer care center that allowed people to call 24 hours a day, free of charge, to ask any kind of question. And the fact that people could call in and talk to somebody built that trust in the company. They knew that if they had a question, they could call and it would be
Somebody
answered.
would answer it.
And then I think that sort of permeated the organization, and as we go through the development of Safaricom, that's how we built the trust, that we would be honest, and where we were failed our customer, we would be honest about why we had failed and what we were doing about it.
Let's talk about failure, especially because you are working in innovation. So one of the things that is interesting is you were building a service that none of these people had interacted with before. Mm-hmm. And so definitely trust was a big thing. But when you talk about building that, people think trust is a fluffy thing. Mm-hmm. It's not tangible. What is it for you that was tangible about that? What is it for you that is still tangible about trust?
I think the main thing is to do what you say you were going to do. Okay. I mean, to actually do what you were saying you were going to do. In all aspects of how you operate in a country, and particularly with that particular market segment, as you say, had not seen a mobile phone before, ever used a mobile phone. And later on in all the new products that we introduce are coming after that, is that they trusted Safaricom to deliver, always. I remember when we launched M-Pesa, there was a research done by a person who's from MIT, and they wanted to understand, why would a poor person give Safaricom their money? Mm-hmm. And the results are quite astonishing. They thought they actually were giving the money to me, to this white guy, and they trusted me with their money. They didn't trust the company. They trusted me with their money.
Absolutely.
So it's I think how you behave in your interaction with the public. We in our growth of Safaricom, we went through many growing pains where we made mistakes. We ran out of money. We ran out of capacity in the network. And many times you had to go on to TV, national TV, because then, we were a phenomenon,
Yes.
If something went wrong, there was a headline news in the newspaper. And you had to go on to the news media and defend yourself. And sometimes the explanations were a bit arcane, and I'm not easily to believe what I was saying.
Yes.
But you had to be very honest and say, this is what went wrong and why it went wrong.
Yes.
And therefore, I think people started to believe that I was actually telling the truth. I wasn't trying to hide behind a cliche or something like that. Yeah.
You said something that's very important and has come out, and I'm actually going to read that data. Percentage of those who agree that CEOs expected to lead, but these are the qualities and these are the things they want from a CEO. 90% of all respondents say the CEO's job is building one role to get the company to be trusted. Business decisions are at 80%. So you're right. Trust is a big thing for leadership. And how you manage and handle a crisis is critical. But that's about you lending your trust, or them lending trust in you to the business. There's some phenomenal statistic I read about Safaricom. When you initially set up here, you were looking at getting 500,000 customers. That was going to be the measure of success. By the time you were leaving, you had hit 17 million. What is your personal responsibility? What did you feel was your personal role to the individuals who had either at this point bought shares within the business, who were part of it, were no longer just customers, they were now shareholders? And also in terms of a legacy for you, what was that for you as an individual?
I don't think it's anything different from what I've already said. It's what we built together in this the 11 years that I was the CEO of the company was this fact that I could deliver what I said I was going to deliver. And in this building of this company to 17 million is to stick by your principles. And remember, there's a lot of things that makes a company successful. It's not just the product.
No.
It's also the pricing of the product, the way it's presented, how people perceive you. One of the things that comes to mind when you're talking about this is when I started with Safaricom, I wanted to do corporate social responsibility differently. And I wanted to do completely different what normal big corporations did. Normal big corporations, it's very easy. You cut 5 checks a year. You take them to 5 different children's homes, you get a picture in the paper, and that's
Success.
You're done. You're done with it. What I did is I divided my budget. In the beginning, it was a very small budget, and then as time went on, it got bigger and bigger, into tiny chunks. And I would sponsor anything. You bring me anything, and I would say yes, I will do it. Okay, and that was what I wanted to do. And what happened? What was that? What was the outcome of that? Was that people knew who Safaricom was before I was even a household name. Before I was a household as a phone company.
Yes.
So people would say, I need the school's got no electricity. Can you provide electricity to the school? I'd say yes. Now, I didn't have coverage in that area, but I had electricity in that area. So people knew Safaricom was there. So people started to see Safaricom as part of them. It was not just,
and touching their issues,
and
not a corporate
part of their
thing.
life. Yeah.
Okay.
So, we cared for them. Okay. You can say it's cynical, but it was a big marketing impact. It had a huge big marketing impact for us. And to this day, if you look around, Safaricom is probably unique in the world, I would say. And even my successor continued that, is that we are part of this community. We are not a separate provider of services. We are part of the community. And if you look at all around us, our competitors and other places, why have they failed? Not because of pricing. They're lower priced than us.
Yeah, well, we just know people are willing to pay more if they trust the company. Yes.
See, but it's because we are part
of their lives.
We are part of their lives, and they are seen and they trust us. Yes, they don't. It's just like you trust your daughter's boyfriend. You trust him that far, But they still, they trust us.
Thank you very much for listening to that part 1 of our conversation with Michael Joseph. In the next part of our conversation, we'll be talking about honesty. And here is a question for you. Is honesty always the best policy when it comes to business? Well, Michael shall share more about how he views that on our next Shaping African Conversations.